Hey guys, thanks for joining me. About 6 months ago or so, I bought a pellet grill for the first time. This is my very first pellet grill. I got it from Costco, and I have two regrets. Number one, I regret not buying a pellet grill much sooner because I really love this thing. It has totally changed the game for me in terms of how easy it is and accessible it is for me to be able to go grill and get excellent results every time. And number two, the other regret that I have is that because it is so fun to use and easy to use, I wish I could take it with me, but I may have a solution. Check this out. This is a portable pellet grill. One of the things that made this pellet grill such a game changer for me was that Wi-Fi app, being able to precisely set the temperature, monitor the temperature, change it on the go, having a temperature probe that tells me what the internal temperature of the meat that I'm cooking is. Having all of that was just such a fundamental change in how I did grilling, and it turned me from a rather poor griller into somebody who gets fantastic results from whether I'm cooking a brisket or a prime rib steak or something like anything like that. I'm getting really good results from that. So I absolutely love this thing, and now at the idea of being able to do this remotely and take this out to a family gathering, maybe putting it on a picnic table, and then connecting to it with a Wi-Fi app and monitoring all the same things that I would do this with this bigger one is really attractive to me. So let's get this thing out of the box, and we're going to run it through some paces and see if I can get similarly good results with this ASMOKE Essential that I got with the large pellet grill that I bought 6 months ago. So let's get it out of the box and see what it comes with. Some kind of a handle, not entirely sure. All right, let me go ahead and get the grill out, put it on a table so we can get a look at it. All right, so I have this actually set on a little aluminum camp table just to show you that it's not ridiculously heavy. I don't remember the exact weight of this. I'll have to put this below for you, but it's very manageable weight-wise. And as you can see, it's pretty compact. And this obviously is the surface area of the cooking surface right here. And again, I'll put the dimensions of this below for you so you can see what that is. But really, this is all that comes in the box. This is obviously a handle that gets attached to the front of that. So I'm going to have to attach the handle. I assume the manual is probably inside. Let me take a look here. Looks like there is a locking mechanism on the side. I think there's one on both sides. Yep. So that you can lift it up without the lid popping open. All right, this box is clearly perfectly sized to fit in the cover. Little flame shield here. This is all very similar to the full-size pellet grill that I have. It's just a little bit smaller. All right, we have some stuff in here as well. Not sure what these are, but they are milled aluminum, and there are 4 of them, so maybe they are feet. Got a temperature probe here, actually 2 temperature probes. So that's cool. My fancy pellet grill only came with 1. Oh, it's actually got a little small tray. This is really good for, I use the upper tray for the top on my larger grill for like toasting hamburger buns and things like that. But obviously you can use it for a variety of things, but that's cool. This is probably the pellet hopper. And then this is a rechargeable battery. So you can actually run this off battery power. Now we'll have to find out how long it'll run off battery power. But I think the fact that you can do it at all is very cool. And then I've got a USB port on there that I can use to recharge this guy here. That's pretty slick. They do give you a USB-C cable for charging that guy. I might go ahead and go plug that in and get this charging. All right, I think I have got the ASMOKE Essential fully assembled. I have the hopper full of pellets. Let me pull the little feeder plate so I can release the pellets into the auger. Now, the battery I have fully charged, so we can see 4 LED lights. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug that all the way in. And when I do, this comes up. All right, so we are in the main menu now. Let's go ahead and go to settings and make sure that I am using Fahrenheit. Okay, well, it looks like there's a software update, so let me go ahead and update the software. That is some microscopic text. I think it's giving me a status percentage on downloading, but it's like 2-point type. There's no way I can read that. Oh, I'm getting a hint of a status bar animation there. Okay, it's cooking now, figuratively speaking. So I'm going to go ahead and install. Imagine the installation will take less time than the actual download did. App installed. Okay. So let's go ahead and do open. All right, looks like we did 2 updates. So let's set the grill to 390 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 Celsius. Use when the feed tube is empty. Recommended preheat for 30 minutes. All right, so looks like a button. So let's do that. And this is going to be our little primer and burn in. So I'm not actually going to grill anything yet. I want to make sure any of the oils or anything like that from manufacturing are burned off. But I'm going to let this run. I've got a full hopper of that apple wood pellets, and we're going to just kind of see how this part goes. All right, so since the pellet hopper was totally empty, and it has to go through an initialization mode where it's actually feeding pellets to get into the hopper and have enough pellets in there to catch. So it's kind of typical with these pellet grills if you haven't ever used one. But I'm definitely smelling some of that apple wood pellet smoke right now, which is pretty pleasing to be perfectly honest. But I'm imagining that the temperature is going to start climbing now, because I can definitely tell that, yeah, in fact, it just jumped 2 degrees. So we're going to start climbing up towards 390 degrees Fahrenheit and let this thing go through its cycle. So it looks like we're off to the races now. All right, we are about 15 minutes into this, and you can see it's really kicking up the smoke now. To say it's pretty pleasing smell. We're currently sitting at, let's see if I can zoom in here for you, 224 degrees on the climb to 390. And the ambient temperature out here is pretty chilly. It's right around freezing. All right, it has been just about 25 minutes since we fired this thing up. So I think we're in the zone here. We're just gonna keep letting this run, but it's definitely working. And I think I'm going to give this thing a solid kind of a 1-hour runtime to kind of burn this thing in before I attempt to do some actual grilling on it. Just to show you kind of where we left off, I had this hopper completely full of pellets here, and then I ran it at 390 degrees, so just shy of 400 for a solid hour. You can see we just dropped about 2 inches or so. My guess is that probably equates to about 10 or 15% of the pellet capacity that we used. And these are the ASMOKE Applewood pellets. You can use third-party pellets in this, non-ASMOKE pellets, but they give you a little plate that you have to put down into the firebox, the fire pot, to make sure that they are disposed of properly, which normally with my larger grill, I have to, during grilling season when I'm using it almost every day, about every week or two, I have to take it all apart and vacuum out all the ash on the inside. Well, this one actually drops the ash down into this little ash catcher here. Here you can see this is what we caught in the ash bin just in that 1 hour that I ran this at just under 400. And then this other little chrome tray here, this is I think you can put water in there to provide humidity to the grill. The other thing is that there is a drip tray for grease catcher here in this little door, and they do give you several of these little grease trays in there. You just kind of stack them up, take them out one at a time. So I'm sure they probably sell those on the website as well. But you put that in there. Now they do tell you not to put foil on this because typically people would often, I think, be careless about it, and then you'd get foil that would be blocking the airflow inside this. I think I'm just gonna put foil over this just to make this easier to clean. But I'm going to make sure I stop it at the edges here so that I'm not going to interfere with any sort of airflow. And then just to take this little part off here, I'm going to basically grill a couple of steaks and some baked potatoes in here. This allows you to fold this back and get some actual flame grilling there if that's what you're going for. In my case, it's not. I'm going to leave that closed. You can see it doesn't necessarily negate a proper cleaning from time to time, because you will get some ash that accumulates in that bottom section there. So I am going to need to to clean that out periodically, but you can see in the firebox or the fire pot down there, there's a little grate that most of the ash will fall through. All right, let me get this thing covered, put this back on, and then we get this thing fired up and we're gonna do some grilling. All right, we're all set to do some grilling. I had to pause my robot snowblower over there so that you'd be able to hear me. And we have got a full hopper here. We're gonna find out after grilling a couple of steaks with a couple of baked potatoes, which obviously take a little bit longer. We're gonna start the baked potatoes first, cook them for about 30 minutes, and then get the steaks on, and they should be done about the same time. And so we're gonna find out, that's about, call it an hour, well actually more like 45 minutes or so of total cook time. We're gonna be at pretty high temperature, around 450 degrees. Now to start to grill up, the first thing you gotta do is that the contacts for the battery are gonna be on top. So the label of the battery here will be facing the top. And before you insert it, there's a little button on here, if I can get you to see that in the light, there to the right by the LED lights. If you press it once, it'll show you your state of charge. You can see I got 4 lights. If you press and hold, that will turn the battery on. And we're gonna go ahead and insert the battery. And you can see the grill display automatically turns on. All right, you can hear the fan start immediately. Let's go ahead and proceed. So we dial to the right here to bring up the temperature. And like I was saying, I really do like this interface. I'm gonna go ahead and preheat this to 450. And then press the dial to lock that in. And then we swipe to start the preheat process. So we're gonna let this get preheated. I can monitor this with the mobile app, and I'm gonna go get the baked potatoes ready. So by the time I get that stuff ready, this should be pretty much ready to go. All right, there's the final result. Just off the grill, 2 baked potatoes, 2 New York strips. I'll have to dig into them and find out how we did. All right, after last night's grilling session, I moved it out here, and just to check on it, this is, we're down about 2 inches. I had it fully topped off, and this was running at about 450 degree set point for pretty much a full hour. So let me go ahead and top this back off with pellets again, and I'm gonna kind of do like a simulation of a brisket, where I'm not actually gonna put a brisket on there because I don't have one, but I wanna find out what kind of runtime we can actually get out of this battery at a lower grilling temperature, like say 250 degrees, something you might be more likely to do for multiple hours if you were slow cooking something. So let me go ahead and get this topped off with these applewood pellets from ASMOKE and get the completely full in the hopper. Put the battery in. The battery is fully charged. So we've got all 4 LEDs lit, and we'll get this thing going at a low temp. See what kind of runtime we can actually get out of this ASMOKE Essential. Probably put a few more pellets in there, but let's just call this full. Now, it does have a couple of quick start settings. I'm not sure if these are enabled yet. Let me try smoke, which is a low temp grill. Just click that and see what happens. So it says 175. Looks like we can change that probably. I'm going to put that at 250 and press the igniter button. And then we'll swipe right to ignite. So we're just going to let this thing run. You can see right now on the clock, we're currently set to 346. So we're going to time it, see how it does. The one thing I do want to point out is that at least once I have had to sort of kind of knock on the pellet hopper here to get the pellets. They were like log jammed down underneath somehow and weren't getting fed into the auger. And that caused, and how I noticed that is there was a sudden loss of temperature as basically we lost the flame in the fire pot because the auger was basically empty. So I had to, I had to kind of tap that. I'm not sure if that's a common problem or not, but that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this longer term test to see if that's something that I run into again. So I will report back accordingly and let you know if that's a quirk of this particular unit that you should probably be aware of. All right, almost exactly 4 hours into it, I noticed the temperature was dropping. I happened to be looking at the app, and we have this message here. I'm not sure how well this comes out, but it says ignition failed. Please remove the pellet in the burn pot and try again. I'm going to try going back to 250. Let's check the pellet hopper. You can hear there, you can actually see the pellets going into the chute. So this was, again, another one of these cases where after, I don't know, 3 hours 45 minutes of grilling. The pellets did get jammed, and I think I have released them back in. So we'll see if it reignites, and I'll check back in. All right, I came out here at right at 8 hours, and it is shut down. I've been monitoring it from the app fairly regularly, and it seems to have shut down sometime within the last hour. So I didn't quite get 8 hours out of it, but I probably got 7.5 hours out of it. That was at 250 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's what we got. All right, I reached out to ASMOKE about that pellet jam issue, and they said that this little grate here in the hopper, which is, I guess, kind of a standard issue for something like this, for safety reasons, I guess, to keep you from putting your hand all the way down there in the auger, they said that you could remove that, and it will resolve the pellet jam issue. So let's do that and see if that solves the issue. All right, so this is actually held in place by 4 rivets. There's 2 on each end. So it looks like I'm going to need to clip those off with something, maybe a pair of tin snips. I'll give that a try and see if that works. All right, as you can see, I removed that little bracket. Basically, I didn't find that either wire cutters or tin snips quite do the job on those rivets, so I ended up using an oscillating tool, and that made very quick work of those little soft metal rivets. And then I just basically took a firm grip and pulled the bracket right out. So let's try this again. We'll do another test of extended grilling at low temperature and see if we get any pellet jams at all. All right. It's a sunny, balmy 30 degrees Fahrenheit today. I don't think the temperature is going to change much throughout the day, so still pretty chilly out here. And I've got it set to 250 degrees on the smoke setting. And we're just going to let this run. In fact, I might go ahead and set a timer. Can I do that from here? Well, when setting the timer from the display, it only records it in minutes. It's going to be easier to set the timer from the app. So I'm going to go ahead and do that from the app. Go ahead and back out of that. All right, and we'll just see if we can get this thing to run for a long period of time at 250 degrees. See if we get any pellet jams. I might have to put more pellets in there, but I did fill it up, and we have the bracket out. So we'll see what kind of result we get this time. Hopefully no jams. All right, we're just about 5 hours and 15 minutes into it. Still no problems. Look at the battery icon there, a little under half full. And if you're like me, you're probably wondering, like, what do you do? How do you keep that battery from running out? Can you plug it in? Well, ASMOKE did think of that. And over here on the side of the battery port, there is a little Type-C connector there. So you can take something like a little power station like this guy, and you can plug that in to the battery while it's running, and we should start feeding that. And you can see we are pulling usually about 63 watts, I think, by the time it's said and done. Looks like 66 watts right now. But now we are feeding more energy into the battery. We're basically recharging the battery because we're putting more energy into the battery than the blower is actually using. So now we can extend the life of that grilling session by using an external USB-C power supply. So that's pretty cool. All right, we are 45 minutes shy of 8 hours. I think I've pretty much run my power station nearly down. Yeah, we're at 2%. But as I said, we were putting more energy into the battery than we were using, so the battery is basically full back up, according to the icon. So I'm going to unplug power station, but we're going to let this thing run out, finish that 8-hour cycle. We should be good to go. Let's check the pellets. Yeah, we are getting down to the last quarter of the pellets. All right, I think we're going to make it. All right, we are just literally like 4 minutes shy of 8 hours. It's going strong. So removing that bracket out of the pellet hopper definitely made the difference. So being able to charge externally definitely will get you very long run times if you want to go that route. And seems to be working great right now. All right, so I've had this grill for just about 4 weeks, and it's pretty clear to me that ASMOKE was really still making some last minute tweaks to the software, firmware, and the documentation to get it ready for shipping. It should be starting to do fairly soon. And I've had actually about 3 software updates in the past 2 weeks, and they've definitely made some improvements and finally enabled those quick start grill modes, which I think I showed you the smoky one. Those are pretty cool. There's still a couple of things in the mobile app that I'd like to see better implemented. For example, the battery indicator in the mobile app doesn't really give you any indication of the actual state of charge. And also I'd like to see maybe a better utilization of your mobile phone notifications so that you know when the grill is finished preheating or when that target probe temperature is reached. Now, I did mention these things to the ASMOKE team, and I was told that those improvements are actually already in the works, so that's good news. And I think the only other thing that I think you might want to keep an eye on with this grill is that, at least in the current iteration, and they might resolve this by the time it actually ships, I don't know, but that hopper grate design, it does seem prone to the occasional pellet jam, which is not something you really want to have happen in the middle of a grilling session. But the easy workaround is to simply agitate the pellet hopper just a little bit with a few gentle taps, maybe every 30 minutes or so, or you can just remove the grate like I did, and that actually seemed to resolve the issue pretty well. And other than that, I feel like it really did a great job for me, and I think this is an excellent way to get into pellet grilling if you're on a budget, since it costs quite a bit less, nearly half of what I paid for that typical full-size pellet grill. And it's currently selling at only $3.99 with that kind of new pre-release pricing that's going on right now. And if you're looking for something that will easily fit on a balcony with a limited space, or maybe something that's easily portable for taking along in an RV or a camper, maybe you're going car camping, or maybe you're just looking to do some, parking lot tailgate grilling, that would absolutely be a perfect use case for this thing, especially since they have a bunch of accessories that you can add to it, like a travel case, which would come in pretty handy, I think. And just to quickly cover some of the key specs that I don't think I really got into much detail on so far, it does weigh in at about 40 pounds, so very reasonably manageable in the weight department, and it supports a temperature range of between 175 degrees Fahrenheit up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. And the outside dimensions are 20.2 inches wide, 14.2 inches deep, and just 15.5 inches tall. And that 271 square inches of grilling area will let you cook a typical rib rack, or maybe 8 hamburgers at a time, or 12 hot dogs at a time, or, as I'll definitely be doing on the regular, up to maybe 4 New York strips and 4 baked potatoes at a time. And it's just big enough for that as well. And since it does come with and can monitor 2 temperature probes simultaneously, you can track both the internal temps of your potatoes and your steak at the same time if that's something you want to do, which is pretty cool. So yeah, especially with spring just around the corner, I think it's definitely worth a look. And per usual, I will put a link to this in the video description below for you if you do want to go check it out and maybe take advantage of that pre-launch pricing promotion. And if there are any questions that you still have that I didn't answer for you in the video, feel free to leave those in the comment section below, and I'll try my best to respond. But hopefully you did find something useful in the video, and if you did, I'd very much appreciate it if you consider clicking on that like button for me. I do thank you for watching this video, and I hope you'll consider joining me for the next one. Until then, have fun out there.